we
IONS have been vaccinated. And we are ready to welcome the new academic year.
Okay, hi, welcome to this IONS free learning with me, Alan. Okay, well, this is Thursday. Wow, weekend is coming, yeah? No, it's like it's still in the middle of the week, yeah? Anyway, we have just welcomed the new month. It's December. Wow, December. That is the last month of the year, right? So New Year is coming. I'm so excited. So anyway, have you been planning to anywhere like for enjoying your New Year's and also your Christmas holiday? Yeah, we know that the government is going to set up a new level of the, what you call, man, like the restriction for traveling to prevent the COVID-19 spread. Well, yeah, I know, but still, you can just go to several places which are good for your refreshment, like for your refreshing your minds and everything. You can go to several places which are natural, which are fresh, which are very interesting, like for example, zoo, okay? Or maybe for me, because I have been in the city all the time, actually I'm planning to go to a kind of like a forest, okay, or a highland, and enjoy just in my city, in my town, in Jakarta, maybe to go to Kaliurang, maybe, or maybe go to Bantul, yeah, to see like several good places, green areas, which are going to give me some refreshings on my mind. But anyway, if you have planned to go the same place as I have decided or I have planned, so maybe you're gonna be happy talking about the topic today, which is actually about wildlife rescue. Okay, so I am pretty sure that you love seeing animals, but I don't know, I am actually an animal lover, especially if they are birds or let's say cats. I love cats so much, or rabbits. Okay, I love them. But maybe you also have like several other animals that you like to pet. Some people, they love petting like reptiles or something like that, but it's not me, seriously. I mean, like, I don't really like petting reptiles because like reptiles, in my opinion, like that's quite scary. Okay, like snakes or lizards, but they are exotic. So I mean, like they are very good, very nice, and also very cute in some ways. Okay, now we're gonna talk about wildlife rescue. Okay, so guys, if you can you see my screen, or should I share my screen? Okay, if you can see here, can I share screen? Okay, I can share screen. Yeah, so how to the share screen? Okay. I'm going to share my screen. So can you please just wait for a moment? It's here. And share the screen. And here we go. Yep. Okay. If you can see my screen here, we have got this picture, okay, of a bird, okay, in a hand, okay. Yes. It is actually, I don't know, like, is it like a wildlife? I don't know. Or do you have any bird at home? Well, for me, I am not really good at petting birds because like we have to feed him or for her like every day, and also we have to put in a cage, which in my opinion, it is not really good to put an animal in a cage because I'm pretty sure that the birds wants to fly around and wants to fly high. So yeah, even for my cats, like I set my cats free, so they are actually out of the cage. Okay, so they are actually not in the cage, so they're just like running around anywhere, wandering around. Okay, so yeah, this is like the picture of a bird, and this symbolizes the wildlife rescue. Now we're going to talk about wildlife. So yep, before that we have got several words which are related to wildlife. Okay, so if you see here on your screen, okay, we've got to rescue, we've got a hedgehog, we've got a charity, we've got a wildlife, we've got the wild, we've got a habitat. Okay, now let me tell you one by one the definition. Okay, maybe we're gonna start with the easiest one. Okay, the thing that we're talking about, that is wildlife. Okay, so what do you think is the meaning of wildlife, guys? Do you have any idea? Wildlife? Anybody can say, or anybody can put in the comments? Yes, wildlife is actually animals, okay, which live really in nature. So maybe you can give me some examples of wildlife. Let's say I mentioned before birds, okay, or cats, okay, rabbits, penguins maybe, or snakes, okay, they're also wildlife because they live freely in nature. Okay, well, and I think like most of the wildlife, most of the animals, they should live freely in nature. Yeah, we do not need to keep them in a cage. That's my opinion anyway. And then, what about the difference wildlife and the wild? Okay, so the wild itself, guys, it means actually a natural environment where humans don't live. That is the wild. So let's say a forest or maybe a jungle, that is the same as the wild, which is the place where humans don't live. Okay, so we live in a like residential areas, like in the city or in the town, where a lot of people, another humans, like they live together, interact with each other, have a social life. That is called the habitats that we use. Okay, but now in the wild, it means like the place that you do not live there. That is wildlife and wild. Now, what about we talk about the next thing, habitat. Wow, what is it, habitat? After we know the meaning of wildlife and also the wild, let's see what is the meaning of habitat. So habitat here, it is, can you guess? Can you guess it? What is the meaning of habitat, or what is the definition of habitat? Yes, it is actually the type of place where a particular animal usually lives, okay? So for example, if you talk about birds, their habitat is in the forest or in the tree. Let's say if you talk about shark, okay, or whales, their habitat is in the sea or in the ocean, okay? Or let's say penguin, their habitat is in the poles, okay? Or polar bear, okay? So their habitat is in the pole, okay? And what about snake? Yes, their habitat is actually in the forest or in the jungle or some other animals. Habitat is the place or the type of place where a particular animal usually lives. That is called habitat. Okay? And then, what is the next thing? I am pretty sure you know what a charity means. This is so easy. What do you think is the meaning of a charity? Well, yes, a charity here, it means that is an organization that helps the poor or the sick. That's called a charity. Well, I don't know how it is related, but yeah, we'll see. Okay. So a charity is actually an organization that helps the poor or the sick. That's called charity. For example, if you go to a kind of like organization and then you donate some of your money and then to help the poor and also the sick, that is called a charity. Okay, so that is actually a charity. Now let's go to number one. To rescue, it's a verb, okay, to rescue. So what do you think is it, to rescue? Okay, so to rescue here, it means to save something from danger. For example, if you see a snake, for example, on the road or on the street, okay, and you want to rescue the snake, that means you want to save that animal or the snake from danger. You know that I told you before that snake's habitat is in the forest. So a snake isn't supposed to be in the road or in the street because the cars or maybe the motorbikes can kill them, okay? Or maybe when you're in Australia, you will find a lot of koalas. And sometimes koalas crawl on the street or maybe on the bank of the street or on the side of the street. That might be dangerous for them because they can be hit by the car or hit by the vehicles running around or let's say passing by. And if you want to save them, if you want to put them in the real habitat or in the right place, so that is called rescuing them, okay? So that is the rescue. And we have got one more hedgehog. The only one and only, okay, is a kind of a small wild animal and it's brown and its body is covered with sharp spines. Have you ever seen a hedgehog before? Have you ever seen a hedgehog before? Okay, if you have ever seen the hedgehog before, I'm going to show you how hedgehog looks like, okay? So I'm going to show you how hedgehog looks like. Hedgehog, okay? This is hedgehog. You can see this one is hedgehog, okay? Have you ever seen a hedgehog before? Or have you ever even touched him or her? Yes. Actually, personally, I once saw a hedgehog in my friend's house, but I'm just too afraid to touch it because like the spike is very sharp and I don't want to hurt my skin, okay? And I don't want to get hurt, so I just like leave it alone. Yeah, that's hedgehog, okay? So hedgehog is like this. So if you see hedgehog, then that is also a wildlife, okay? So you have to save it or you have to rescue them and you have to put them in their habitat, okay? Because they are not meant to be pets, okay? They're not meant to be running around in the residential areas, okay? But if you pet him or her, if you pet them, you have to make sure that you feed him or her, you feed them with a good food, okay? So you have to make sure that they have got well or good food for them so they are not going to be starving or they're going to be hungry, okay? Because you are responsible for them, okay? Okay, so now if you see here, okay, yep, we've got a video, okay? So actually this kind of video is about a kind of like taking care of all sorts of wild animals, okay? So let's play the video and listen to the video because later on you're going to find out whether these statements are true or false, okay? So if you see on the screen, there are 8 statements and you have to find out whether they are true or false, okay? So while you're looking at this, let's listen to the video, okay? Let me play the video for you, okay? Okay. Or you can scan it actually from your mobile phones. Okay. Okay. Ouch. It seems that I cannot find the video. Okay, it's learning English things British Council.org /UK-now/video UK/wild animals. Let me check with this one. Okay, well, okay, I guess you can just skip it. Okay, it's okay. Yeah, so if you can access the video or if you can access the audio, you can actually just scan it here. Okay, Yep, there's a barcode that you can scan. And after that, you can listen to them and then you can find out, okay, whether these sentences, okay, are true or false, okay? But let's go to the next exercise, okay? So we're actually going to talk about idioms, okay? Do you know what idioms means? Yep. Idioms are actually a kind of like sentences in English which have got a kind of like a spatial meaning. So I don't know what you call it in Indonesian, but it is kind of like sentences that have got not exactly explicitly meaning that way, okay? So for example, I've got an idiom, let's say for example, oh, learning English is just a piece of cake. It doesn't mean that learning English is just a piece of cake, but it means it is very easy, okay? Or for example, in life, don't put all eggs in one basket. It means in life, it doesn't mean that you have to put all the eggs in one basket, but it means like you do not risk everything in one chance, okay? Those are the example of idioms. But now we're gonna talk about the idioms that I have shown you in my screen, okay? It's got 8 sentences about the idioms, okay? So if you can see here, let's start with, aha. Let's start with number 7, okay? She was she was quiet as a mouse. As quiet, it should be like she was as quiet as a mouse. It means, do you know, is mouse quiet or is it noisy? Can you guess it? It's a mouse, like, okay? Is it quiet or is it noisy? Well, actually, when someone says that she was as quiet as a mouse, it means very silent. So he or she, in this case, it's she, made no sound at all. For example, you know, my sister, when she meets a new friend, she's as quiet as a mouse. It means a mouse here is very quiet. There is no sound of it at all. Okay? So if you want to say like, oh, she is as quiet as a mouse, it means she is very silent. Okay? Or she makes no sound at all. Which one do you want to discuss next? She is as quiet as a mouse. And then, what about this one? I'm more scared than a porcupine in a balloon factory. Okay, I'm more scared than a porcupine in a balloon factory. What does it mean? Can you guess it? Like when you are a porcupine in a balloon factory, what is it? It means that you, yes, it's difficult to be more afraid than how I'm feeling at the moment. So it's like you are at the top of the fear. You are very afraid. You're very scared, okay? And it's like I'm more scared than a porcupine in a balloon factory. That's quite complicated anyway. Let's try something simpler. This one. Who is going to be my guinea pig? You know, the pig, like, okay, oing, oing, okay. So yes, what is it? Like when someone says like, it's going to be my guinea pig, it means you need someone to be a volunteer for your project, okay, or your activity. For example, you're going to create this kind of like activity at school or maybe in your social life, and then you say like, now who's going to be my guinea pig? It means like some is going to be involved and someone's going to volunteer him or herself in your project or in your activity. That is called guinea pig, okay? Let's try something else. I said try. So when someone says she should try to squirrel away a few dollars each month. Wow, I love talking about money, okay? She should try to squirrel away a few dollars each month. What do you think that means? She should try to squirrel away a few dollars each month. It means you save a little money for something in the future. It's a good idea. So it is actually a suggestion that you should try to squirrel away a few dollars each month. It means like you need to spare some of your money, okay, for something in the future. And it is actually a good idea. Okay, yeah, so that idiom means that one. Aha, let's go to number 3, which is very simple. She's such an eager beaver. You know beaver, right? Hey, have you ever seen beaver? Okay, let me show you beaver. It's a beaver. Beaver or beaver? Okay, this one. I don't know in English. I don't know in Indonesian how you call it. Yeah, it's actually that one. Okay. And you know what? Like one secret of beaver is like he or she always washes his or her hand after he or she gets a food. Okay. So I think you have to imitate that gesture. Whenever you have got a food, you got something to eat, then you have to clean it, you have to wash it. Okay. So make sure that there is no germs in it. Okay. And it should be clean. Now, let's go back to the idiom that I told you before. Yeah. So, when someone says, she's such an eager beaver, so what do you mean? It means, because it's an eager, okay, very, okay, so yeah, that means, oh, sorry. So that means she puts maximum effort into everything she does. For example, if you, let's say, if you want to achieve an A in your English, then you learn every day, you learn everything, night and day, just to get that kind of score. So that means you are such an eager beaver. Okay, it means like you always put maximum effort into everything that you do. Okay, that is one idiom. Okay, oh, we've got something here. Like a rat deserting a sinking ship. Wow, can you imagine there is a ship and it is sinking and the rat deserting it? Okay, so it's like, okay, so can you guess what is the meaning? Like a rat deserting a sinking ship. Okay, can you guess what is it? We have got this one is okay, so we have already used this one, we have already used this one, we have already used this one, and we have already used this one and this one. So there are 3 left, 1, 2, and 3. So when someone says like a rat started a sinking ship, yes, good, that is actually someone who quickly tries to run away when problems arrive. Okay. So when problems arrive or when the troubles in your life, then you just leave it or you run away from the problems, which is, in my opinion, it's not really good, because when you have got problems, you have to finish it. You have to solve it. Okay. It's not running away from that problem. You have to finish it. You have to solve it. You have to find the solution of it instead of running away from that problem. But if you have got a friend who loves running away from the problems, you can say that she or he is like a rat deserting a sinking ship. Okay, rat deserting a sinking ship. That means he or she loves running away from his or her problems. Okay, when they arrive. Okay. Now, we've got this one. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Okay? Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Can you please guess what it means? It means like something, don't make something out of a molehill. Can you guess what is it? It means yes, because it's don't, so it means like it's a negative imperative. Yes, that is, it means you have to stop thinking a small problem is a huge or huge problem. Okay. So, what do you say? Like, you consider a small problem to be a big problem. That is not good. Okay. Just see the problems and try to find the solution for it or solve it instead of like saying that, oh, it's a big problem. No, because every problem must have a solution. The thing is, you just need to find the right solution for that one. Okay. And yes, there is an idiom about that, which is don't make a mountain out of molehill. Okay. That means stop thinking a small problem is a huge problem. Okay. We've got done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8. So there is one left idiom, which is they are like rabbits caught in the headlights of a car. Have you ever seen a rabbit caught in the headlights of a car? So it's very shiny and blinding. Okay. Yes, it means when someone says that they're like rabbits caught in the headlights of a car, it means suddenly unable to move or make decisions, like frozen, stop moving. It's like, shoot, there's a car and there's a rabbit, and then this car stops and caught in the headlights, like, oh my gosh, I can move, I can think of anything, I can make any decision. That is called that idiom. Okay, so it's like rabbits caught in the headlights of a car. So those are actually the idioms which you can use when you want to use the idioms to express your feelings, or if you want to express your ideas in a different ways. Okay, good. Now let's go to the next thing that we're going to discuss. Okay, so in daily life, sometimes we have to give advice, or we also have to give an obligation. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about that obligation and advice. Okay, as you can see here, we use have to or must or should or infinitive to talk about obligation. Well, actually, if it is an obligation, then you can say like have to, must, have to or must. That means it is obligation. But should, it is more like an advice. But remember, after have to or must or should, you have to go with infinitive. Infinitive, it means verb 1. Okay, so it's not verb ing, it's not verb 2, it's not verb 3, it is always verb 1. And that is without s or es, whatever the subject is. So, for example, Susan must go to school every day. It's Susan must go, not Susan must goes. Why? Because Susan is singular, but after must, which is an obligation, you have to put the verb 1, which means with no s or es or ed or ing or whatever it is. Or for example, you want to give an advice. I think Maria should take a rest at home after being hospitalized. So when you say like, I think Maria should take, so it's not Maria should take, no, but Maria should take. Why? Because should after modal, you have to do it for one basic, without s or without ed or without ing or without anything. It's just purely verb 1. Okay, good. Now, must and have to are both used for obligation and are often quite similar, and they are both followed by the infinitive. For example, I must go now. I have to go now. But for have to, if the subject is singular, then it will change or it will turn to has. For example, my mother has to arrive at the hospital at 7 because she is the doctor of the hospital. So it means that is an obligation. My mother, that is singular, so my mother has to instead of my mother have to. Okay, so that's why, because it is an obligation and it is with have to, so you have to adapt the have to. If the subject is singular, then you have to change it into has to. Okay, well, it's a bit complicated, but it's okay, that's easy. Okay, and then have to is more frequent in conversation, and must is used more in formal writing. For example, in writing notices. Yes, actually, if you are talking orally or in a spoken way, sometimes or most of the time you use have to instead of must. But if you want to make it more formal, like say you are going to write something, if you want to write down a notice, or if you want to write down a memo, or if you want to write down a regulation, then you need to use, or you should use must instead of have to. Okay, so that is actually have to and must. Have changes in the third person singular, as I told you, it's to be has. Okay, okay, now let's see here. Next exercise. Now let's take a look at the activity into the correct category. So drive on the right side of the road in Indonesia. Everyone drives on the left. So everyone drives on the left in Indonesia. So it means you, what is it? Yes, it is mustn't. Okay. Mustn't drive on the right side of the road in Indonesia because everyone drives on the left. Why is it mustn't? Because mustn't, it means like you are not allowed to do that. Like it or not, you can't do that. Okay? Now, what about this one? Call the emergency services if you just have a cold. Okay? If you just have a cold, then it is yes. When you've got a cold, it's better for you. So if it is so, this is how to distinguish between have to or obligation and advice. So obligation is something that you must do or that you have to do, like it or not. Although your opinion says differently, but because it is a rule, so you have to do that or you must do that. But obligation, sorry, advice, it depends on your opinion. If in your opinion it is a good thing to be done, then you use should for an advice. So because this one called the emergency services, if you just have a cold, I think that is like a suggestion because in your opinion, that is a good thing to do. So you can say you should, okay? You should call the emergency services if you just have a cold, okay? There's this one, arrive at the airport early in case there are delays. So I think it is also an advice or it is a suggestion to prevent the, what is it, like the unexpected things to happen in the airport. So arrive at the airport early in case there are delays. So I would say that I guess it is should. Okay, you should arrive at the airport early. Let's take a look at this one. Be 17 to drive a car in Indonesia. Well, because it is a rule, like it or not, so you have to use, you have to. Okay, you have to be 17 to drive a car in Indonesia. So if you are not 17, it means you are not allowed to drive a car in Indonesia because you aren't old enough to drive the car. So you have to get a driving license. So yes, because it is a rule, like it or not, then you use have to. Okay. Now, what about this one? Always get enough sleep before driving a car. Because it is not a rule, but actually it is actually strong advice in my opinion. Because yeah, before you drive a car, you should always get enough sleep. If it is something that you think it is better to be done. Yeah. But for me, it is not only just an advice or suggestion, but I will consider that as a strong advice or a strong suggestion. Because if you do not get enough sleep before you drive a car, then it will be dangerous for you and also for the other drivers on the road. Yeah, so that's why I'll prefer should, or maybe you can also say you must or you have to. Okay. But again, remember, have to is normally when it is related to the regulation or the law. Now, use your mobile phone during an exam. Okay. As you know, when you are doing an exam, I don't think that you are allowed to use mobile phone, right? So you have to keep your mobile phone down. Okay. But I think now in this pandemic era, there are a lot of online classes and also there are a lot of online exams. I think you, like it or not, have to put the mobile phone in front of you to check the camera to have the meeting like the Zoom or in the Google Meet or whatever it is, or maybe the streaming. So yes, I think if it is for the pandemic, I think that's okay. But yeah, for the normal or regular exam, I am pretty sure that you mustn't, okay, use your mobile phone during the exam because it's not allowed, okay? Because you're going to cheat, okay? So no, you are not allowed to. It means you mustn't use your mobile phone during an exam. Now, what about this one? Rest and drink lots of liquids if you have a cold. When you have a cold, sometimes like everything is going to be dry. You're going to be dehydrated. So to prevent the dehydration, I am pretty sure that it is, in my opinion, it is a very good idea. You should, okay? You should rest and drink lots of liquids if you have a cold. But again, because it is actually a strong obligation or sorry, it's a strong advice or strong suggestion. So you can also use must or have to. Okay. It depends. If it is just like an advice or suggestion, you can just use should. But if you think that it's actually a strong advice or strong suggestion, you can use must or have to because it's strongly suggested, it's strongly advised to keep you hydrated. Okay. Let's take a look at this one. Show your passport or identity card to get on the plane. Yes, told you this is actually a rule because if you do not show your ID card or your passport before you're getting on a plane, then that is actually breaking the law. Okay, you do not want to be present just because of that kind of illegal passengers, right? Yes, so it means this is a law, so you have to use have to. Okay, you have to show your passport or identity card to get on a plane. Now, complete a lot of exams, study, and training to be a doctor. That is quite tricky. Okay, I think because there is a rule, because if you want to be a doctor, you, like it or not, have to complete a lot of exams because that is your obligation. Because being a doctor is not easy, you know, like they have to think about the patient, they have to find the best medication for the patient to for the patient to be cured or to be healed. So yeah, like it or not, you have to complete a lot of exams. And also because being a doctor needs a lot of skills, let's say doing surgery or let's say diagnosing people. So yeah, that means you have to complete a lot of exams, study, and also training to be a doctor. So you can cure, you can also help the patients to get better health and everything. So I would say this is a have to. Okay. So as I told you before, that is very important to distinguish between obligation and advice. Again, if it is an obligation, it is normally related to law or related to the rules. Okay. So like it or not, you have to go with the rules, you have to go with the regulation. So because it is the rules or it is it's a law, regulation, then you have to use the word have to or must, okay? But if it is just your opinion and you think that it is a good thing to be done, then you use should, because should is about an advice or a suggestion, okay? And remember, after have to, after must, or after should, you use verb one, basic. It means verb one without s, without in, without ed, without everything. We just like simply verb one. Or in English, or in a lexical term, we call it infinitive. Okay, it means like the basic verb. Okay, or yeah, that's the basic form of the verb. Okay, that is have to, must, and also should. I'm gonna give you one more actually, so just a bonus. Okay, so you can also use the word mustn't if it means like it or not, you cannot do that. For example, you mustn't drive on the right side of the road in Indonesia because, like it or not, you are not allowed to do that. That's mustn't. But if it is don't have to or doesn't have to, that will have different meaning. It means when you say don't have to or doesn't have to, it means there is an option whether you can do that or you do not want to do that, so you also are allowed not to do that. For example, the party starts at 7, but you don't have to come before 7. It means if you want to come before 7, that is okay. But if you want to come after 7, that is also okay, because there is no rule or regulation about that. So it is your own choice. But it is different when I say the party starts at 7. So you mustn't come after 7. So like it or not, you cannot come after 7. You have to come before 7. Okay. Another example. For example, in European schools, students don't have to wear uniforms. It means in European schools, if you want to wear uniform, that is okay. And if you also do not want to wear uniform, that is also okay. So it's your own choice. But let's say in Indonesia, student mustn't wear any other clothes but uniform at school. So in Indonesia, you are not allowed to wear any clothes instead of, or sorry, but or other than uniform. So it means you have to wear the uniform. Okay, that is about must, have to, and should as an obligation and also advice, and the negative form of that. Now, let's move to the next exercise. We've got 8 sentences here, okay, but there are the mistakes in each sentence. So now let's see what is the mistake and let's see what is the correct sentence. Okay, let's see for number 1. You must to see the Chrysler building when you're in New York. Remember, okay, because when you have got must as an obligation or as a strong situation, so you have to follow the must using verb 1. Okay, it means you are not allowed to use to here. So it is just you must see the Chrysler building when you're in New York. Okay, so without to. Okay, and then let's take a look at number 2. When it is a question, do I should call him? Okay, so should itself is actually considered as a modal or an actual or an auxiliary. Okay, So it means when it is in a question, you do not need any other auxiliary, okay? Or you do not need any other thing to put before the subject. So should be, I'm just gonna double strike it, okay? Should be, should I call him? Yes. Should I call him? That should be the sentence. It's not, do I should call him? No, but it should be, should I call him? Yes. That is the correct question. Now, what about number 3 here? Let's see. You happen to wear uniform in the 6th form. It should be in the 6th grade, I guess. Okay, no 6th form. Okay, yeah. So it's not you happen to, but remember, I told you before, if you have got an option or if you have got a choice, then it is you don't have to. So you don't have to wear uniform in the 6th grade. It means if you want to wear the uniform, that is okay. But if you do not want to wear your uniform, it is also okay. That is, don't have to. Next, we don't must make any noise. My grandfather's sleeping. Again, because must is also considered as an auxiliary, so we do not need the word don't. So if it is negative, as I told you before, it is we mustn't make any noise. My grandfather's sleeping. Okay. Now, what I told you before, when you have got should, must, or have to, you have to put verb 1 only without giving any other words. So here, it's not you really should to go, but it should be you really should go and see a doctor about that. Can you guess what about the mistake in number 6? Can you guess it? Yeah, it should be he shouldn't talk to people like that. Again, because if it is negative, we should use shouldn't instead of don't should. It's the same thing like this one, number 4. Okay, because it's a modal. And then now, number 7, why we always have to come to the same cafe? Remember, because this is have to, so it's a bit different. So the sentence, it becomes, why do we have to always come to the same cafe? Okay, it should be like that. Okay, must you to make that terrible noise all the time? Again, if we have already got the must, have to, or should, we do not need any other word before the verb. So it should be, must you make that terrible noise all the time? Yes. Okay. Well, guys, I guess that's all for today, talking about obligation and advice. I hope that you learned something, and I hope that you will remember what I have already told you. Okay, please remember about obligation and also situation using should, must, and also have to. Okay, thank you so much, and see you in the next chance or in the next occasion of the free learning. And don't forget, stay healthy and keep the health protocol to stay away from the COVID-19 disease. I'm Alan from IONS International Education. Seeing you. Goodbye. Have a nice day.
We
IONS.